chosen child, picked from the homeless, unwanted, and neglected, taken by childless parents to share their home and love with no care for the past and every hope for the future. The chosen child is the adopted child.
Stewart. Don't you like to see a beam on a child's face like that? Adoption is a long-established procedure which makes it possible to give a new set of parents to those children who have been permanently separated from their natural parents. Since homeless children are the charges of the community, we should be interested in seeing that an adequate adoption program is carried out. Each child should find a new home suited to his needs, where he can have the love and guidance of good parents. Until recent years, it was difficult to place children for adoption because of public attitude. Today, there are more than 13 sets of parents applying for every child available for placement. To protect the interests of both child and parents, the best method of adopting is through a state-approved or licensed agencies. There are several such organizations in Iowa. I visited one, the Iowa Children's Home Society, to find out more about the problems and experiences of adoption. The society, which is located in Des Moines, is a private agency supported for the most part by community chest contributions. It's dedicated to children's welfare work throughout the state, and its adoption program is only one phase of its activity. About 50 or 55 children are placed each year by the Iowa Children's Home Society. I was interested in learning the backgrounds of these children available for adoption. I asked the director of casework at the agency, Mrs. Elizabeth Turner, about this. Mrs. Turner, where do you find these babies that you have up for adoption?
Most of these babies are babies of unwed parents, and they come to us through referrals from hospitals, doctors, friends, people, welfare officers in the community.
And what about the older children that you have?
Well, they come from very often from welfare officers, social workers who have been working with the family and find that the child needs to have a home away from home. Sometimes in court, if parents are in trouble and can't take care of their children.
Well, once these babies have been referred to you, how do you take care of them?
Well, our babies all go in foster homes because we feel that family living is the best place for a small child. These babies foster families because we care of the children. And while they're in these foster homes, our social workers visit them. They go to our pediatrician. We have a nurse on the staff that watches the child, and we keep in touch with the foster parent who's taking care of many children.
How do you know what the child is like?
Well, all these people that have been seeing the youngsters know a good deal about children and have watched many children develop. And they are able to find things that are happening that aren't according to what a child at this age should be doing.
What about the parents that you're going to place the child with? How do you determine what kind of parents the child needs?
Well, that's sometimes rather hard to explain. We are looking for parents that can fit the needs of a certain child. And in the adoption agency, our main focus is the child. We're looking, out of 10 parents, we're looking for the one set of parents who are going to be the best parents for this particular youngster. It's the kind of people that they are that we're most interested in, not the particular kind of home they live in. Big or large, clean or dirty. We don't like the extremes.
Because of the great demand for children, the adoption agencies have had to devise some means of choosing the best parents for the child they have to place. All parents making application at any of these agencies follow much the same procedure, and all go through a long period of waiting and hoping. For the agencies still do not have staff enough to process the applications as quickly as they would like to. When I visited the Iowa Children's Home Society, I saw their method of selecting parents in operation. When a couple writes to the society asking about adopting a child, they are sent in return a statement of the society's policy and an inquiry blank. Now, this inquiry blank is not an application. It's designed only to give the agency information about the couple. If the couple are still interested after reading the statement of policy, which contains information on who may adopt a child and how to go about adopting, they fill out the inquiry blank and return it. Here they give information regarding their backgrounds, education, reasons for wanting a child, and a physician's statement as to why they cannot have a child of their own. The agency places children only with families unable or unlikely to have children, or if they have one child and are unable to have additional children except through adoption. A family is not considered for more than 2 children. When the couple's inquiry blank arrives at the agency, it is processed and a decision is made about the couple based on the information contained in the blank. One of the important things the agency will consider is age. In order that a child may have the normal home life it needs as it grows up, the agency tries to be sure that the parents are not too old for the child. Therefore, infants will not be placed with parents over 39 years of age, but inquiries from couples older than this will sometimes be considered for older children. The couple's inquiry blank is referred to Miss Catherine Wheeler, supervisor of the adoption department. She is the first to read and consider the information on the form. Her main concern is finding happy, well-adjusted people who will provide a good home. There are no specific housing or financial requirements. After Miss Wheeler has read the inquiry, it is passed on to a second social worker who also reads the information and takes notes, and to still a third social worker who will use her training and experience to decide which of the couples will make the best parents. Miss Wheeler then compares the notes and comments and decides whether to interview the couple or not. About 40% of the people who submit inquiry blanks are called in for an interview. Because some couples are turned down does not necessarily mean they would not make good parents. It's only that some selection has to be made. Processing the inquiry blank and reaching a decision may take about 4 months because of the great number received and the lack of staff. If the couple is turned down, they may submit another inquiry at a later date and then will be considered again. If the couple is accepted for an interview, a letter is sent asking them to come to the agency and talk with the caseworker assigned to help them. In order to find out the right home for each child, it is necessary that the agency become well acquainted with the parents. The outcome of the couple's interview will determine whether they are accepted as applicants for a child. They come to the agency to talk in an informal way with the social worker who has been assigned to them. She is interested in finding out more about their reasons for wanting a child and in determining just what sort of parents they will be. She's looking for parents who will take the child as he is and will not expect too much. Parents who can offer love and understanding. During my visit to the Iowa Children's Home Society offices, I sat in on this interview with Mr. and Mrs. Kim Langer as Mrs. Mowry, the social worker, talked with them.
What led up to your decision to adopt a child?
Well, of course, I think like most couples, we sought medical advice and it seemed impossible to have a child of our own, so like other couples who want to adopt a child, we felt the same way. And that's what brought us to the adoption agency.
Are you any friends who have adopted children?
Yes, we know a great many adopted children. We have business acquaintances who have adopted their families and friends, and also we had a neighbor family who had an adopted child.
Does the family know of your interest in adoption?
Yes, of course we've told our folks, and I think they're both very happy. Our folks on both sides are happy about it. Although we have had friends and some relatives who did question the background, for example, of an adopted child and whether that was the right thing to do.
Speaking of a baby's background, have you ever thought about how much or how little you would want to know about the child you hope to adopt? I know that we would want to know as much of the background as you had available in the agency, and that when a child grows older, he is naturally going to be curious to want to know about his real parents, and we would want to be able to answer his questions. Once in a while, we do hear it stated that adopting a child through an agency does remove risks and chances to quite an extent. What do you think about that?
Well, naturally, I would say that there are risks, of course, in adopting a child, but I can see no difference between risks that people take and having their own children. I mean, they still have to become ill and all those other troubles that any family would experience.
Do you feel that life is involved in some risks, too? Well, I doubt that it's possible to remove all the risks. As natural parents, people take risks, and an agency certainly couldn't eliminate all of those for anyone. As you think about adoption, what differences do you see in having a child by adoption and having a child born to you?
Well, I would say one of the big differences would be that the child should be informed that he is an adopted child, so that he would be accepted by the neighbor children and so on.
If the couple are accepted as applicants, another form is filled out and filed in the agency office. Then there are more interviews, and at least one of them will be in the couple's home. Now, after the application has been filed, many months may go by before the agency finds the child that fits this particular home. This is perhaps the hardest part of the adoption story. The endless months of waiting and the uncertainty of the situation may be very trying for the couple. The process from the initial contact to the placing of the child in the home may take from 2 to 2.5 years. When the agency feels the right child has been found, a letter is sent out to the couple asking them to come to the society office. Before they see the child, the social worker tells them the child's background, its medical history, and as much as she can, which will be helpful to the parents in raising the child. Then at last the parents meet the child they have waited for so long, and they're left alone to get acquainted. With the permission of the society, we made special arrangements to get these shots using a one-way mirror so the people would not know they were being photographed. Here, Mr. and Mrs. Laverne Wintermeyer of Iowa City meet their son for the first time. Later, I talked with the Wintermeyers at their home.
How do you folks feel about having your picture made when you didn't know it through a one-way mirror?
Very surprising.
Very amusing. I can imagine it would be. I appreciate your willingness to go ahead with making this film. Well, how long did it take you? Would you mind telling us a little bit about your experience in getting a baby through the agency?
We made our first trip to Des Moines to inquire in August 1951. It's been about 3 years and 9 months till the time we got the baby.
Well, was it a discouraging experience? Did you ever wonder if you were going to get a baby at all?
Well, we wondered right up until about a month before we got the baby whether we were even on the eligible list. I think the discouraging thing is just the long wait.
Mm-hmm. Did you try any place else to get a baby? Was this the only place?
Yes, this is the only place that we tried.
Do you know if people who usually try that, if they don't get a baby one place, I guess they go on someplace else?
They may try several places, I don't know, but we decided that we investigated first and then stuck by this one agency.
Well, how do you plan to tell the baby that he is adopted?
Well, we have a book here called The Chosen Baby, and as soon as the child is old enough to understand, we will sit down and read the book with the child and show him the pictures that go along with it. I think it's a marvelous book to tell the child just how we chose him.
That sounds good. Well, how have you and the baby been getting along? And how long have you had him now?
Since May 6th, just a month.
How have you been getting along?
We've been along very good. It's only been several mornings since we had him that he woke up about 4:30 in the morning. But we enjoy him so much, even when he wakes up early, it doesn't make too much difference.
Well, who gets up with him in the middle of the night like that?
Well, it's only been a couple of times that anybody's had to, so the first night I think we both did, and I think Mother does now.
If the child is older, the parents may visit several times before taking the child home. If it's a very small baby, it will probably go with the parents immediately. Now, the law says that a child must live in the home a year before the adoption is final. During that year, the agency continues to share responsibility for the child. Several visits are made to the home, and the social worker helps the new parents in every way possible. At the end of the year, the child is legally adopted by the parents in a court proceeding and is given the rights of their own natural-born child. But what about the couples who do not receive a child? As we have said, it's not because they wouldn't make good parents, but because there just aren't enough children. These couples are disappointed, of course, but most of them are determined to keep on trying. Mr. and Mrs. William Gray have been turned down several times, and this is what they told me about their experiences. They've been trying to adopt a child.
About a year and a half.
Now, what about your success?
No, we haven't had any whatsoever.
Well, how do things stand right now, then?
We were able to get an application in the 1st of February.
You indicate that you had been trying other places then.
Yes, as you can see, I have all these letters where we wrote several different places, and we got these answers back that they weren't accepting applications.
Your trouble then hasn't been finding a child. You haven't been able to get an application in that then.
We have an application in with one place now.
But you had been turned down other places just on your, couldn't even get an application in.
That's right.
What do these letters say?
Well, here's one that says, "We are sorry, but we have very few children released to us for adoption at this time and are not taking applications." And then another one, they were telling us very similar circumstances, and they said, "As we indicated earlier, that this does not mean we have presumed to make any judgment concerning your suitability as parents." And they all ran along that line.
Well, what do you think is the major difficulty in this? Why you're not able to get an application in?
Well, we really don't know what the secret is to getting an application in. I have many people told me how they have adopted children, but we just haven't had the success yet.
Well, you're going to keep trying, supposing the application you have in now doesn't work out.
Oh yes, we'll keep trying, but there's always hope.
Well, once the application is in, any idea how long that will take?
Well, we understand it takes about 2 years. However, we have had no one come in and check on us or anything of that sort.
Well, now, with your experiences, what would you say to people who are thinking about adopting children?
I believe that anyone that is seriously interested in adopting a child or children should find everything out firsthand and not take everything as hearsay. And by looking up particular county or association that they want to get their child from, why they'll get all the information that they want. But to start early and don't wait.
Well, has this been a pretty discouraging experience for the two of you?
I certainly think so. We just waited and waited, and you sometimes wonder if you should go on.
Do you feel that it's still hopeful?
Oh, yes. I think we'll always keep trying unless we get a definite no from someone, and I think we'll still continue.
Oddly enough, even though many couples are turned down, there are still children who cannot be placed. Now, these are the hard-to-place children, so-called, for several reasons. Perhaps because they have a physical handicap, such as a heart murmur or a kidney or lung ailment, or perhaps there's a record of mental deficiency in their background. In some cases, the child has severe emotional problems. This is frequently true with the older children. I have felt a particular interest in the case of the hard-to-place child because even though everybody is seeking perfection, you are never absolutely sure what you're getting anyway, and a little love and a little special attention in the direction of these children would help them because, after all, hard-to-place and physical ailments or not, they need homes just as badly as anyone else. Well, of course, besides physical ailments, his race may make him hard to place. There are not as many Negro couples seeking to adopt as there are Negro children available. These are but a few of the children who have come to the Iowa Children's Home Society and who have been cared for and helped. Some of them now have parents. Others will probably never have because they're hard to place. But everything possible has been done to help the children such as these, to protect their interests, to ensure them the rights which every child has. The hard-to-place child is in a foster home where he enjoys the benefits of family life. The child placed for adoption is checked on periodically by his caseworker. Medical examinations, psychological testing, and the services of trained social workers give the children such as these every chance for happiness. Each is considered as an individual. His personality, intelligence, temperament, all are figured in the treatment given his case by the agency. 90% of the children placed by the agency are under 6 years old. A happy babyhood and childhood are most necessary to a normal, well-adjusted adulthood. The agency recognizes this fact and does everything in its power to get these children into a natural home situation just as soon as possible. The Society's foster home program is an outgrowth of this belief in the importance of the home. When these children are put into the care of the agency, they're not institutionalized, but they're put into carefully selected boarding homes. Children placed in foster homes may stay just a few months until they're placed for adoption, or a few years, or perhaps until some of them become of age and are able to support themselves. Children such as this little boy receive the best of care and thrive in the home atmosphere. A nominal payment of $10 per week is made to the boarding parents by the Society. During the time spent in this foster home, this child receives continued guidance, counseling, and friendship from the agency social worker. His health is carefully watched, and so is his progress in adapting himself to the home. Always there is close cooperation between the caseworker and the foster parents. To make the foster home plan economical, these boarding homes are all located in the area near Des Moines, so the social worker may visit frequently. In talking with the boarding home people, one thing they told me that was interesting and bad about their work was they became so attached to the children and hated to see them go when they were under adoption, but that shows you that the children were really loved. Through adoption, many children are given a normal home life and a happy future. The adoption agency, working within its limited budget, has more than proved its worth in making better the lives of both the children and the parents. Much credit for this success goes to the directors of these agencies. The head of the Iowa Children's Home Society is Richard Lewis, Jr., and I talked with him about the adoption picture in general.
Mr. Lewis, has there been any significant change in the adoption picture in recent years?
There certainly has. For one thing, the number of children in our country today that are in need of permanent homes through adoption is less than it was 30 years ago. In 1920, for example, the federal census showed that in our country there were about 750,000 orphans, whereas by 1950 there were only 20,000. Now these were children who needed new and permanent homes through adoption. That has radically changed the picture. There are other factors too, in that maternal death rate at childbirth is going down. The health of adults has improved. Life expectancy is longer. Parents are here with their children, in other words.
Well, has there been any change in the philosophy? For instance, what is your current philosophy in child placement?
Well, can I answer this way by going back just a little bit? That 20 and 30 years ago, agencies were all but urging folks to adopt. And the shoe is quite on the other foot today. Today, we have many couples coming to us seeking to adopt, and we are in a position of having to turn down or reject many couples who would make fine parents for children. The thing today is that, on an estimate, 1 out of every 38 married couples in the country is involuntarily childless. So we have many couples coming to us, and we feel that pressure out of their need. In view of that, and in view of the children's needs, we focus first, and we say that our first responsibility is to the child and finding a permanent home for that child. We're very much aware, however, of our second responsibility, that of the couple who seeks the child through adoption.
The adoption agency exists through your support, whether it be taxes or donations, but it has earned its right to exist. Any licensed agency working in the interests of the homeless child is certainly preferable to the black market or extra-legal arrangements which benefit only the operator. The children involved here are citizens of the state, and the future depends upon them. We owe them the love and guidance of family life. We also owe them understanding. In the past, the adopted child has been looked upon as inferior, a child taken in out of charity. This, of course, is not true. The circumstances surrounding a child's birth in no way alters his physical and mental characteristics, his personality, or his potentialities. Every child deserves a chance, whether his father is rich or poor, whether his father is known or unknown. Our adoption program gives the child that chance. Through adoption, the homeless child is assured a home, a family, and a future. Children such as these find a new life. They no longer face the future as unwanted. They have now become the chosen ones.
serious sin toward our fellow creatures is not to hate them, but to be indifferent to them. That is the essence of inhumanity. The 11th Commandment, a public service presentation of WOI-TV, is produced by Ray Stewart. Directed by Dick Harper. Written by Reba Ann Patterson. The technical director, Ken Wilcox.